Have you ever really thought about how that stuff on your doorstep or the food in your fridge actually gets to you? Well, chances are it spent some time on a truck. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the massive, complex, and absolutely essential world of the American trucking industry. And when I say massive, I mean it. Just look at this number, 70%. That's the percentage of all freight in the United States that's moved by trucks. We're talking more than 10 billion tons of goods every single year. It's not just part of our economy, it's basically the circulatory system that keeps everything flowing. But, it wasn't always this way. This complete dominance didn't just happen overnight. The journey from, old school horse-drawn wagons to the super high-tech, high-pressure industry we see today, well, it's an incredible story of technology, culture, and pure economic force. So the big question is, how did we get here? To really get a handle on where this industry is going, we've got to look in the rearview mirror first. Because the story of trucking, it's really the story of 20th century America itself. The 20th century was just a whirlwind for trucking. It really kicked off in World War I, where the military basically proved these things were way more than just a novelty. But the real game changer, that came in 1956 with the Interstate Highway System. Boom! That paved the way for efficient long-haul trucking. This all led to a huge cultural moment in the 70s. And by the 1980s, deregulation came along and completely rewrote the rules for the entire business. So, let's talk a little more about that cultural peak in the 1970s. For a while there, truck drivers weren't just seen as workers. No, they were full-blown icons. And this image, it was just everywhere in the 70s. The CB radio became this symbol of a secret community, right? With its own language, helping drivers dodge speed traps. This whole vibe was then amplified by pop culture. You had hit songs like Convoy, and of course, blockbuster movies like Smokey and the Bandit. The truck driver literally became a modern folk hero. Yeah, that image of a lone rig against a huge open landscape, it just captured this uniquely American idea of freedom and rugged individualism. But, and this is a big but, that romanticism of the past is a world away from the complex, high-pressure reality of the job today. Because today, the industry is facing a whole new set of challenges, and it's being forced to evolve faster than maybe ever before. The best way to describe the market right now is fragile. So while there are plenty of trucks out there, demand is soft, the economy is uncertain, and it all means the whole system is on kind of shaky ground. So what's causing all this fragility? Well, for one, demand for goods has just been flat. High interest rates have put a chill on the housing market, which is a huge driver of freight. You've got volatile tariffs creating these unpredictable stop and start shipping patterns, and then underneath it all, there's a stubborn labor shortage, especially for drivers. Every single one of these pressures is like another crack in the foundation. And that labor shortage, it brings us right to the most critical part of the whole industry, the people. And right now, there's a huge push to change the face of who's actually behind the wheel. Just look at this slide for a second. It shows a pretty stunning gap. Women make up almost half of the entire U.S. workforce, but only about 7% of truck drivers. Now, that's not just a statistic. It represents this enormous untapped talent pool in an industry that is desperate for more drivers. And here's a really compelling reason to close that gap. Studies show that female drivers are, on average, 20% less likely to be involved in a crash. That is a powerful safety incentive, right on top of the economic one. So, to tackle this head-on, there's bipartisan legislation on the table called the Promoting Women in Trucking Workforce Act. The goal is pretty simple. First, create an advisory board to figure out what's really stopping women from joining the industry. Then, identify solutions. And finally, report those recommendations straight to Congress. But hey, solving the labor shortage isn't just about people. It's also about technology. And the future of trucking tech, well, it's getting here a lot faster than anyone expected. Seriously, forget about thinking of AI as some far-off futuristic thing. In the world of logistics, it's already become everyday infrastructure. It's not coming, it's here, and it is completely revolutionizing how goods get from point A to point B. This table gives you a great idea of just how deep AI is getting into the whole shipping process. For instance, getting a price quote, that used to take time, phone calls. Now, AI can spit one out in seconds. And while a shipment is on the road, AI is monitoring it, flagging potential delays before they even become a problem. From paperwork to payments, Automation is making the whole thing faster and way more predictable for customers. But technology isn't the only major shift happening. Geographically, the entire map is being redrawn. Companies are actively moving their supply chains closer to home. It's a trend called nearshoring, and one country in particular is popping up as a critical new hub. And that country is Mexico. I mean, it makes sense, right? Its proximity alone slashes shipping times from weeks down to days compared to shipping from Asia. The USMCA trade agreement gives it tariff-free access. And on top of that, there are massive investments pouring into its infrastructure: rail, ports, highways. Mexico was quickly becoming a logistics powerhouse for all of North America. All of these changes, the workforce, the tech, the geography, they're all part of a much bigger strategy: building resilience. If the last few years have taught us anything, it's that disruption, well, it's the new normal. So how do you build a supply chain that can actually handle those shocks? Well, you start by not putting all your eggs in one basket. That means using multiple suppliers, spreading out geographically, using AI to plan for the unexpected, and even running simulations to game out potential crises before they ever happen. But as we look to the future, it's so important to remember that resilience, it's not just about tech and strategy. A truly strong industry, at the end of the day, is built around its people. And this brings us to a really vital new trend: freight wellness. These are programs designed specifically to fight burnout and improve safety for the people who actually make everything move. We're talking about using tech to create more flexible schedules, providing real mental health support, and just making the job more sustainable for the long haul. Which leaves us with one last fascinating question to think about. The American trucking industry has always been defined by the person behind the wheel. So as technology automates more and more of the journey, what does that mean for the future? Who or what is going to be steering the engine of our economy down that open road?